Boy, boy, oh boy. It's that favorite week of the college football season. Georgia Tech, Alabama, Auburn, Florida State, Texas, Texas A&M, Michigan, Ohio State. It's rivalry week with college football playoff implications that go along with it. We're going to cover all that. We're going to recap what took place in week 13, but we're going to preview the all anticipated rivalry week and have a lot of fun with it. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about the CFP rankings and the brackets as well. Bearing down the gridiron on this Thanksgiving Eve starts. All right. Yeah.
I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been.
Okay.
So if they ask you how I feel,
What's up?
I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been.
I am.
So if they ask you how I feel,
What's up?
I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been.
That's right.
So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing.
What's up, everybody? It's Thanksgiving Eve. It's Thanksgiving week. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I hope you're ready, because I'm ready. Thanksgiving is like my favorite holiday of the year. I love Thanksgiving. Well, technically, you can say the month of November is my favorite month as well, because my birthday's in November too. So my birthday was about 2 weeks ago. But you got my birthday, Thanksgiving. What more can you ask for? Love November. But hey, enough about me. It's about college football, because it's rivalry week. Oh, this is the best week of football. The rivals get together, and some rivalries are fighting for a playoffs position, and other rivalries are trying to play spoilers. And there's some rivalry games that have CFP implications on both sides. So it's gonna be a phenomenal weekend of football and college football. It's gonna be glorious. I cannot wait to watch all of these games. Hey, nevertheless, I am here. The Playmakers in the building. Welcome to Burn Down the Gridiron on this Thanksgiving Eve yet again. So let me be the first to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Hope you're ready for spend time with family, friends, loved ones, eat some great food, and watch some good football, whether it's college or the NFL. Bear Down the Gridiron is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and whatever else you find your podcast at. So hit that follow button or subscribe depending on what platform that you're on. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any platform that allows you to give reviews of the podcast, please do so. Be very kind to do so. If you got something negative to say, go ahead and say it. If you got something positive to say, go ahead and say it. If you like what you're hearing, if you don't like what you're hearing, put it in there. Put it in a review. Let it be known. Okay, I'm here for it. All right. Also, you can catch this show on Will Rise Radio this coming Saturday, 11 a.m. at top of the morning to get you ready for rivalry week. You can also find this on 502 American Angel Radio on Fridays, prime time action. All right. So shout out to both of the radio stations. Shout out to my big brother Wise Epi, the man in charge of the Will Rise Radio, and I'm happy to be a part of the radio streams, the podcasting world, and plus, if you're watching the video on our YouTube channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell. So anytime we post something on our YouTube channel, you can be the first to hear. Now that I got the little pleasantries out the way, we're going to go ahead and jump into it because we got a very, very quick 2-minute drill. And to begin it, Mac Brown has been fired as the coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. North Carolina announced Tuesday that Matt Brown would not return that season one day after the Hall of Fame coach decided his intentions to return to the Tar Heels. Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham informed Brown of his decision on Tuesday. Brown, 73 years old, will coach the team in the regular season finale against NC State on Saturday, but a decision has not been made about whether he will coach the Tar Heels, who are 6-5 this season, in their bowl game. Here's what Coach Brown had to say. He said, quote, "While this was not the perfect time or way in which I imagine going out, no time will be the perfect time. I spent 16 seasons at North Carolina, and will always cherish the memories and relationships Sally and I have built while serving as head coach. We've have had a chance to coach and mentor some great young men, and we'll miss having the opportunity to do that in the future. Moving forward, my total focus is on helping these players and coaches prepare for Saturday's game against NC State and give them the best chance to win. We want to send the seniors out right, and I hope our fans will show up Saturday to do so." Close quote. That game will be in Chapel Hill. North Carolina Tar Heels will be the home team, so getting to 75 will probably be the great way to come out of this one for Coach Brown. And Coach Brown's 2 stints at North Carolina, with Texas sandwiched in between, he has a combined 113-78 and 1 record. But unfortunately, his lone championship came with the University of Texas, not North Carolina. Coach Brown, you're a hell of a coach. I don't know what you're going to do next. Maybe go back to TV because you're doing a good job on TV. Or maybe go somewhere else and coach because it seems like you still want to coach. So, Matt Brown, best wishes to you on what you do next after this coming weekend when you play the Wolfpack at home. Story number 2, Coach Prime. Deion Sanders expects his Colorado star players to play in bowl game. Coach Deion Sanders came to the podium. He said he expects his son, quarterback Shadur Sanders, who is a top NFL prospect going into this draft, and wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter. He says he expects them to play in a bowl game. They don't know what bowl game they are in yet because they still fighting for a chance for the Big 12 and the playoff spot right now. And things is, as Coach Prime said, quote, "No, it's not the last time you're going to see them in both uniforms. These two and all the rest of the scenes have done a wonderful job of getting us to where we are, instilling so much expectation in our fan base and expectations in ourselves. So we are going to fight and try to get out there and get some butts and end this thing on the right note. And we are going to a bowl game in this thing on the right note because our fans deserve the absolute best." Quote. I'll get to the conference scenarios for championship weekend a little later on in the show. But that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is your 2-minute drill. And as we're going to push right on through, we're not going to take a break here. So we're just going to go right into it. Let's go ahead and go out gridiron roundup for week 13. And to begin our gridiron roundup in week 13, let's go to our first slate of games. SMU put the whipping on Virginia 33-7, clinching their spot in the ACC title game. They will be heading to Charlotte, North Carolina next weekend to face the certain winner between Clemson or Miami. That's what they'll be waiting on. So we shall see how that goes. Ole Miss and Florida, they battled in the swamp. But we're going to talk about that game. And then with just mere seconds left, the Illinois Fighting Illini decided to hit a touchdown pass of 40 yards plus to shock the Scarlet Knights in New Jersey, 38-31. But let's go down to the swamp, shall we? What can be said, ladies and gentlemen? Number 9, Ole Miss 17, Florida 24. And all of a sudden, another season drowns in the swamp. This time it is Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels. As you can see, 14-14 at a halftime. Both teams get the field goal to make it 17. And the defense of Florida, yet again, stopping teams in the red zone, stopping teams on fourth down. The Gators defense rose to the occasion yet again. And you have to love if you're a Gator fan like myself. If you was there in Gainesville, you got to see it. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Ole Miss had 464 yards of total offense, but yet they lost. Florida had 345 yards of offense. Time possession fairly even, just so difference of 4 seconds, so we ain't gonna look at there. But here's the thing that I do want to look at. Let's look at the turnovers. 3 turnovers by Ole Miss to 1 turnover by Florida. And the thing is really the last 2 that count. Because Jackson Dark threw 2 interceptions on the last 2 possessions of Ole Miss to end the game. The man who doesn't make dumb mistakes was very impatient in doing so. But before I show you the player stats, I want y'all to know this. Ole Miss was 3 for 14 on third downs. Florida was 7 for 15. Ole Miss was 2 for 4 on fourth downs. Okay. That's what happens when you try to do stuff which you shouldn't be doing. Let's look at the player stats. Jackson Dart, 24 for 41, 323 through the air, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Jackson Dart was also their leading rusher with 14 carries and 71 yards. I can't explain it. Caden Lee, 6 catches, 94 yards and a touchdown. For the Florida side, DJ Latway, 10 for 17, 180, 2 touchdowns and a pick. You can say the pick wasn't on him, or it's one of those, it can go either way. You can be on the quarterback or you can be on the receiver. It was one of those situations. Montel Johnson, good to have him back. And he represented on senior day down in Gainesville. 18 carries, 107 yards, and the game-winning touchdown that took place midway in the fourth quarter that gave us the 24-17 lead, which they held on by 24-17. Elijah Badger, 5 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. As you can see, for a second consecutive week, Florida was very efficient on offense. Defense gave up big plays, but when the time called for it, got the key turnovers. Jackson Dart and those 2 interceptions was very impatient because he wanted to take the shots down the field. The first of his 2 interceptions was at the it was at the 130 mark because he threw in a triple coverage. He was trying to hit Bryce. He was trying to hit one of the receivers down the sideline into triple cover. It was 3 Gators right there, and Bryce Thornton came up with the pick. Now Florida went 3 and out on that drive, so Ole Miss had one more opportunity. Well, guess what? Jackson Dart overthrew his receiver again, and Bryce Thornton picked him off again, which ended the game. Jackson Dart was very impatient. He didn't want to take what the defense was trying to give him, and he made overthrows that led to the demise of the Ole Miss Rebels and Lane Kiffin. Now, here's the thing. We went into the week of Texas, and AD Scott Stricken said that Bailey Napier will return for a 4th season. They get blown out by the Texas Longhorns. Just destroyed, demolished. Okay. Rightfully so, we had a 3rd string quarterback in, and we couldn't do that. That was the second of the death row that we had. Georgia lost. Could have won that game, but lost. Texas got demolished. And then we had LSU and Ole Miss coming up before we go to Florida State. Well, 22nd ranked LSU, they got dropped 27-16 in the swamp. And then the game we just finished talking about, Ole Miss gets dropped, ninth ranked Ole Miss, 24-17. And by the way, we talking about two officers that's known for scoring, and they was held to 17 and 16 respectively. This Gators team has shown their support of head coach Billy Napier when the athletic director came out and said Billy Napier would be back. So yes, the AD Strickland did the right call on this one. Bringing Billy Napier back for one more year. And he just flipped like 4 different recruits from Florida State, from I think USC, and I think from a Big Ten school, and they've come into Florida after these 2 big time games. It is remarkable of what just happened with the AD giving his vote of confidence to Billy Napier, and this team started playing some good football. This is remarkable. Good job, Florida. I am very proud of you guys. I'm looking forward to next year now. Now you have to finish it. And I'm going to get to that game because that's a rivalry game going to Doak Campbell Stadium. Got to finish it. I ain't talking about the bowl game yet. But we got to finish the regular season. We got to go 7-5. It's a must we go 7-5, okay? It's a must. All right. Now, from that, let's go to our second slate of games. And, man, the Big 12 was the Big 12 on this slate there because Arizona State got a close win over a 14 ranked. Oh, yeah. Let me try it again. 21st ranked Sun Devils of Arizona State got a close win over 14 ranked BYU. Louisville destroyed Pitt. Kansas done it again. Kansas has done it again. Jesus Christ. And speaking of done it again, first it was Navy, now it was Army. Notre Dame smacked Navy around when they was undefeated, and Navy ain't been the same since. And then they went to Yankee Stadium and they smacked 19th ranked Army around. And trust me, I'll watch that game. It was not pleasant to watch. Smacked them around 49-14. But we talking Big 12, okay? Big win for Arizona State, who was sneaking around with nobody paying attention, and all of a sudden they are 9-2 on this season, and they just gave BYU their second consecutive loss on the season when they went 9-0. Now they just dropped 2 straight, Kansas and Arizona State, and the Big 12 has become completely wide open. Oh my gosh, completely wide open. 391 for the Cougars, 413 for the Sun Devils, 2 turnovers by the Cougars to 1 of the Sun Devils. Time possession 11 plus 11 for the Sun Devils, and they got a massive win at home. Levitt, 16 for 25, 274, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Scotterborough, should I say, 28 carries, 147, 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. And this is another struggling day at the office for the BYU Cougars. They have to pick themselves up because they are not out of the Big 12 race yet, and they are not out of the CFP playoffs yet, but they need to pick themselves up very quickly because this thing has turned on its head in 2 weeks. Just in 2 weeks, the Big 12 has turned on its head. That's in 2 weeks. Sticking with the Big 12, Kansas. Kansas jumped out on Colorado and didn't look back. They jumped out on Colorado, and it was just like, what has happened here? They jumped out to a 17-0 lead before Shadur Sanders found Travis Hunter for the Bucs' first touchdown. And they got a couple of stops, and Shadur Sanders found Daylon Miller again for another touchdown. Then these went from 17-0 to 14-20. And then Kansas ran it right back up again. I must admit, Kansas is on one. Before I get, let me show you the numbers here. 522 yards for the Kansas Jayhawks to 309 for the Buffaloes. That is over 200-yard difference. The Buffs had the ball for under 20 minutes. Kansas, look at time possession. 40 minutes and 11 seconds time possessions for the Kansas Jayhawks. You have to be kidding me that the Kansas Jayhawks was able to control the football, to literally control the football for that long. What is going on here? The Buffalo's defense could not get Kansas off the field. No turnovers, by the way, in this game. Don't even matter because Kansas owned you, controlled you. Sugar Sanders, 23 for 29, 266, 3 touchdowns. Travis Hunter had 8 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. All that's great numbers, but it don't matter when you lose to Kansas. You have Jalen Daniels, only 189 passing yards with a touchdown, but Devin Neal, 37 carries, 207 yards rushing with 3 rushing touchdowns. He also had 4 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. That man accounted for 287 total yards and 4 touchdowns. 28 of the 37 points of Kansas came from Mr. Neal himself. Mr. Neal by himself outscored the Colorado Buffaloes. So you can make the case that Colorado got beat by one player. 4 touchdowns from one guy, and you scored 3 touchdowns. That's more than 21. So you got beat by one player. For the rest of your time, you will always remember the name of Devin Neal because he, by his damn self, beat you, Colorado. And speaking of Colorado, and speaking of Kansas, Kansas has went on a tear. Kansas has knocked off 3 straight ranked opponents. They lost the Sunflower battle with Kansas State, the in-state rival, 29-27. And that's how they ended October. They had a bye week at the beginning of November. And then they came home to Lawrence, Kansas, and they upset a 17-ranked Iowa State. That was back on November 9th. Let's go to November 16th. They went to Provo and took down then 6th-ranked BYU 17-13, giving the BYU Cougars their first loss, as we talked about. And then just this past weekend, this past Saturday, the game we just finished talking about, how they owned and controlled Colorado. Shout out to Kansas, man. Shout out to Kansas. Unfortunately, you need to win one more game to be bowl eligible, but you put on you knocked out 3 ranked teams in 3 consecutive weeks. Got to give you credit for that. Got to. Shout out to Colorado and shout out to Kansas, man. Kansas, you doing your thing. Now, here we go. Spotlight game of the week we're going to get to. But Kansas State sent a message using the Bearcats. That's an example. 41-15. Good gracious. And then it was the Battle of Hollywood, should you say. USC Trojan versus the UCLA Bruins. I think it's called the Victory Bell, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. So it's a lot of rivalries and a lot of different trophies and all that good stuff. But I think it's the Victory Bell. I could be wrong. My Bruins or Trojan fans, correct me when you hear this. But Trojans 19, Bruins 13. The Trojans are bowl eligible. We'll get to see the USC Trojans in a bowl game. That should be a very interesting one, depending on what bowl game they get and who they match up with in a bowl game. So we will see the Fighting Trojans play at least 2 more games. And then our spotlight game of the week took us to the Horseshoe, Columbus, Ohio. Big noon kickoff, 12 p.m. on Fox. It was a top 5 matchup in the Big Ten. It was the 10-0 5th-ranked Hoosiers of Indiana taking on the 10-1, or the 9-1, should I say. 2nd-ranked Buckeyes of Ohio State. We wanted to see if Indiana was the real deal. You haven't played nobody. Your strength of schedule is terrible. Well, you get to go to the Horseshoe. And speaking of which, nobody expected you to be 10-0 at this point in time and doing what you're doing. So that's shout out to Kurt Sinetti for doing his thing with the Hoosiers. But as you see here, 38-15. Ohio State, after falling after falling down 7-0 to begin, the Buckeyes decided to rip off, I don't know, 31 straight points. So it went from 7-0 Hoosiers to 31-7 Buckeyes in the fourth quarter. A lot can be said about that. Especially to the eyes of people who don't think Indiana deserves anything. Will make it even worse. Indiana, you had the ball for 30 minutes and 40 seconds to the Buckeyes 20 seconds. In those 30 minutes you had the football, Indiana and Cincinnati, your offense can only give you 153 yards of offense. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. 153 yards of offense for the Indiana Hoosiers who held the ball for over 30 minutes. My math doesn't mathing right now, but if I was to say that is not a good average and not good use of the football, Indiana. I'm looking at it here. 68 passing yards, 85 rushing yards, 2.1 yards per carry, 3.8 yards per pass. But you had a ball for a long time. 30 minutes and 40 seconds, and you ain't even hit 200 yards of total offense. Both teams had one turnover. You had two more first downs than Ohio State. So what? I don't understand. I just don't understand. Maybe you're not who we thought they were. Maybe you're not who we thought you were, after all. Maybe. Don't know. But you do have to count for that. Caleb Downs did take a punt return, 79 yards for a touchdown. Shout out to Caleb Downs. Great special teams play. Nevertheless, I'm amazed. I am amazed that you got bullied by Ohio State yet again. You were bullied by Ohio State yet again. And that leaves a lot to desire for people who don't want to see Indiana in the playoffs because they don't think Indiana's deserving of the playoffs just because of their strength of record. But Indiana is 10-1. So you have to count for the 10 wins. But man, Rook, 8 for 18, 68 yards. Lawton, 15 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's just Will Howard, 22 for 26, 201 with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Trevion Henderson, 9 carries, 68 yards and a touchdown. He did that in 9 carries. Iboku, 7 catches, 80 yards and a touchdown. Man, it's very shocking. When Indiana jumped out, we was like, okay, they might be able to do something here, okay. But then 31 unanswered by the Buckeyes, and a lot of people around the country were celebrating because it's like, see, Indiana sucks. Indiana don't play nobody. See, they went against the big boys and they got smoked. Well, they still won 10 games, so. And by that, I will show you when we get to the rankings or where they fit in the CFP playoffs. But that's a little later. But yeah, as we wrapped up this part of the show on the Gridiron Roundup, 73 as I went. Ole Miss, I did pick Ole Miss to beat Florida. I'll take that. I'll take that L. My team won. I don't care. I did not expect Kansas to knock off Colorado, but they did, and they control Colorado. And Pitt did not show up in Louisville, Kentucky whatsoever. But Ole Miss, good job. Illinois survived. ASU survived. Notre Dame yeah. Kansas State showed up. USC got a close win, and of course, I picked Ohio State because I was like, until Indiana can beat somebody big, I need to see it first. And they couldn't do it. So that'll put me at 84 and 46 on the year. We are through 130 games of picking. And I believe I am sitting pretty good right now. Let's see. I am at 64.5 win percentage. That's better than 50%. I wish I can get to 70%, but I don't think that's going to work. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Done pretty good if I do say so myself. But hey, that would do it for the Gridiron Roundup. All right, we're going to take a break here. We went almost 32 minutes strong without a break. So we're going to take a break here, come back. We're going to talk about scenarios for championship weekend. Yeah, we're going to look 2 weeks ahead real quickly because after this week, next week is championship week. So we need to see how things are going to play out. So let's look at championship week when we come back.
I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join Ryan McCarthy
I became a Jets fan because Kermit the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
and Dustin Henry
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
as they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. On YouTube and where you can find all podcasts.
Shop hats and official sports gear at Liz. Liz is the leader and #1 destination for hats, gears, and everything that moves you, making it the perfect shop for fans to find official sports hats, merchandise, and gear. Represent your team, your town, and your style with a snapback adjustable fitted hat or beanie from thousands of college and pro teams. Browse the very latest sports jerseys and t-shirts from the best teams out there. Liz has officially licensed professional and college sport team apparel and hats featuring the hottest brands and trends. Shop online or visit one of the 100 stores across the country. Locker Rooms by Liz.
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening,
this Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
exclusively on Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Monday at 3:05 p.m. Eastern, 2:05 p.m. Central. Exclusively on the Sertoba Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Left side.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron on this Thanksgiving Eve as you get ready to have a feast. Turkey, ham, greens, rice, macaroni and cheese, maybe mashed potatoes, dressing, potato salad. That's just all that. And then you got the desserts, pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, banana pudding, all the good stuff. Gotta love Thanksgiving. Yes, gotta love Thanksgiving. Family, football, and food. Nothing beats Thanksgiving, in my opinion. But That's my opinion. Now, before I get too far off topic, now we went through week 13, and the results of week 13 has brought up these scenarios for a championship weekend for the Power Four. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's begin with the ACC. As we mentioned, SMU by blowing out Virginia. They have clinched a spot in Charlotte, North Carolina for the ACC title. Now there's only one spot left, and two teams are fighting for it: the Clemson Tigers and the Miami Hurricanes. Clemson is 7-1. They don't play no more conference games. Miami has one more conference game left, and we'll preview it later. But here's how this will go. Miami beat Syracuse this weekend. It's SMU versus Miami in a title game. But if Syracuse beats Miami, SMU versus Clemson in the ACC title game. That is simple as it can be. Simple, not easy. I'll explain why when we preview Syracuse and Miami at D-Dome. The Big 12, which is very complicated. And yes, as you see, you see 9 teams in here, okay? You see Iowa State, BYU, Arizona State, Colorado State, Kansas State, Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU, and Virginia. Now, here's the thing. None of these 4 right here, from Iowa State down to Colorado, none of these 4 play each other this week. That's why these other 5 teams down here are important as well. But we're going to focus on the 4 at the top here: Iowa State, BYU, Arizona State, and Colorado. Because these are the 4 we're going to pay attention to, because 2 of these 4 is going to make championship. It'll take some miracle if somebody from 5 all the way down to 9 to make it, but we're going to see. And here's what we have here. If there are 2 teams that go, of the 4, as you said at the bottom, Iowa State, BYU, Colorado, and San Diego State, if there's only 2 teams, only 2 of them that can go 7-2, that's your title game. If there's a 3-way tie, here's how the 3-way tie goes. Colorado loses, Arizona State and Iowa State would meet in a 3-way tie. If Arizona State loses in a 3-way tie, it'll be Iowa State and BYU. If Iowa State loses in a 3-way tie, Arizona State, BYU. Colorado needs BYU to lose, for Texas Tech to beat West Virginia, for Baylor to beat Kansas, and for Cincinnati to beat TCU to get in. If there's a 4-team tie, if all 4 of these teams lose this weekend, if all 4 of them lose, right? Arizona State, Iowa State. What currently tells you that Iowa State and Arizona State is the most likelihood of the Big 12 championship game. Nobody expect Iowa State to be anywhere close to it, and nobody expect Arizona State to come just waltz right into the Big 12 and be right in the title game. What a showdown for that. And then BYU and Colorado, nobody expected them to be in it either. You got the one who's been in the conference but can never make it to a conference championship game in Iowa State, and then you have 3 first-comers all fighting for a spot in the Big 12 title game. Well, no Oklahoma State, terrible as hell. No Kansas State, because you found ways to lose games because you can't hold on to the football. Who else was in the talks with that? Utah went down here ever since, like, I think week 5 or something. Ever since they got in the conference play, they went downhill in Utah. Those are your 3 top teams that you're looking at right there. These 4 right here was not looked to be a part of this conversation. But guess where we at? Going into week 14 in rivalry week. This is where we are at. So whatever you're going to get a first time Big 12 title game. Go figure. So whoever gets in is going to Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium for the Big 12 title and a playoff spot. So yes, mainly these 4 teams we're going to be looking at, even though we have like 9 teams that's like right in the mix. Crazy how that is. All right. Big 10. Big 10 is very simple. Oregon's already in, so they'll be in Indianapolis next weekend at Lucas Oil Stadium fighting for the Big 10 title in their first year. This might be my only conference play that I got right. Actually, no, I actually have a shot in the SEC as well, surprisingly. ACC went out the door quickly. Big 12 went out the door quickly. But so far, the Big Ten has been good to me. So Oregon's already in it. Then you have Indiana, Ohio State, and Penn State all at 7-1. So how would this be determined? Well, it's very simple, okay? Ohio State wins the game against Michigan, they're in. It's that simple a fact. If Ohio State loses and Penn State wins, Penn State will be beating Oregon in Indianapolis. And for Indiana, they need both Ohio State and Penn State to lose while they win to face Oregon in Indianapolis. Very, very simple. Very simple, okay? Very simple. I say it's simple. Simple does not mean easy. Simple just means simple. Simply explained, maybe not easily done. And then the SEC. Well, Georgia is already in, surprisingly, because of all the chaos that took place with Florida knocking off Ole Miss, Texas A&M taking one on the chin to, I forgot who they played. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then Alabama taking one to the Texas A&M taking one to the chin of Auburn, and then Alabama taking one on the chin, literally on the chin, to Oklahoma. 24-3, Kellen, boy. 24-3. Are you kidding me? 24-3. You only put up 3 points to Oklahoma. Oklahoma team. Man. I'm not gonna do it. So that leaves this. Georgia is in. You do see Tennessee in there, who is eliminated because all the tiebreakers favor Texas, Georgia, and Texas A&M. So pretty much they're out of it. So it's pretty much it goes like this: the winner of the Texas A&M game Saturday night faces Georgia in the Mercedes-Benz Domes up in Atlanta, Georgia. Like I said earlier, Tennessee pretty much was eliminated because all the tiebreakers favor Georgia, Texas, and Texas A&M. Unfortunately, that's how that went. So if you're a Volunteer fan, I'm sorry, but none of the tiebreakers favor the Volunteers. So yeah, that pretty much hurt them. Nevertheless, Georgia back in it, and I did pick the Bulldogs to win the SEC. So I'm still alive. All right, still alive in that one. But that's where we are at, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to conference championship scenarios in the Power 4 conference. Now, let's look at how the playoff rankings came out. And here are the rankings. So the playoff: Oregon, Ohio State, Texas all kept their rankings. Okay, they all kept it nice and good. Then you have Notre Dame moving up to 5. Miami is at 6. Georgia 7. Tennessee 8. SMU 9. Alabama is at Indiana. Now Indiana is at 10. 11 is Boise State. That is a very important spot for Boise State. If you're in the Mountain West and you see Boise State at 11, that is a very important spot for them. Then you have Clemson 12, Alabama 13, Ole Miss 14, South Carolina 15, Arizona State 16, Tulane is 17. That's an important spot if you're the American Conference for Tulane. You're 6 spots behind Boise State. Iowa State 18, BYU 19, Texas A&M 20. Is that Missouri Tigers at 21? UNLV 22. Could it be Boise State and UNLV in the Mountain West? Illinois 23. 24 is Kansas State, and 25 is Colorado. That's the rankings, how the bracket came out. But this is how the bracket came out. As of right now, your bye weeks go to Oregon, Miami, Texas, and Boise State, because they are ranked higher than Arizona State, who is considered the winner of the Big 12 currently. Then you have home game will be Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State, and Indiana. And then they'll be hosting teams like Arizona State, Tennessee, Indiana, and SMU. Those how the rankings go. Just how the rankings go, all right? That's all I'm saying. Just is it. But now, we're going to take our other commercial break here, because when we come back, it is rivalry week. It is rivalry week when we come back.
The largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant. Weather. Devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States. Inspiration. A breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
WWE Shop is your online source for all things WWE. Be a part of the site, man, and score wrestling gear for big events like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. From current superstars to legends, from Raw to SmackDown to NXT. Don't miss this chance to shop for the most awesome WWE merch. Shop for the best deals as well as WWE gift cards and save big on your favorite items. WWE Shop at Fanatics Experience.
Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted Gunther against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there, seen LA Knight. Oh, okay. And then LA Knight hopped out the car. Let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these two kings, monarchs of wrestling, live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron here on this Thanksgiving Eve. Hope y'all ready for Thanksgiving as I am. But now, before we get into our campus tour, now, we showed you the ranking. We said 17 is the ranking of the Tulane Greenway, which is important because they are 6 spots behind the Boise State Broncos, who are ranked 11 in the Mountain West. Tulane is playing Army next weekend for the American Championship game. Boise State is in the Mountain West Championship game. They don't have an opponent yet. Here's the thing. Tulane has Mississippi tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Which why that game is important because both teams are 9-2. Tulane loses that game. The American is out of the conversation for a playoff spot completely. If the Mississippi Tigers decides to play some spoilers to Tulane for whatever reason. Okay. Here's the other interesting part. Let's go to Boise State. Boise State plays Black on Black Friday, 12 p.m. on Fox. They are hosting the Oregon State Beavers. If somehow Oregon State goes into Boise, Idaho, and they upset the Broncos on that blue turf, the Mountain West might be in trouble if Tulane goes into their conference championship game against Army at 10-2. So make sure you'll have those games watched. Okay? Tomorrow, Memphis, Tulane, Black Friday, Oregon State, Boise State. If you are part of the group of 5 people, those 2 games you need to watch to see how if the Mountain West going to get that playoff spot or the American going to get that playoff spot. All right. Just want to make sure I get my people what they need. Now we can go on our campus tour. And to begin our campus tour, let's talk about Black Friday, shall we? Clean old-fashioned hate. Athens, Georgia is where we're going to begin, as the 7th-ranked Bulldogs are trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Yes, I said that. Even though they are in the SEC championship game, and they can win the SEC championship and get in the playoffs that way, but they want to make sure that they are going in there on a good footnote, okay? And they're playing the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. 7:30 p.m. Black Friday on ABC. 19.5 are the Bulldogs over the Yellow Jackets and over the hedges in Athens, Georgia. I don't know how I feel about that 19.5 because we is talking about Georgia Tech here, and Georgia Tech it's had a pretty good season. I mean, we're talking that's a 7-14 right there. So 19.5 seems like a little too much. Man, it's a rivalry games. Records don't matter in this. I'm trying to tell you, records do not matter. It's like when the Bulldogs was heavy flavor over Florida, and Georgia fans was about to lose their mind because Florida was owning them until DJ Lightway got hurt. I'm just saying, 19.5 may be a little too much, but hey, good old fashioned hate. Yellow Jackets, Bulldogs over the hedges in Athens, Georgia. From Athens, Georgia, we head to the Big House. The Horseshoe, Columbus, Ohio. The 2nd-ranked Buckeyes will be hosting their arch rivals, the Michigan Wolverines. That is Saturday, Fox noon, big noon kickoff on Fox. 21-point favorites are the Buckeyes. And the way that Michigan has been looking 6-5 on city, they'll make a bowl game. But if Michigan can do that to Indiana, and Indiana is a high-power scoring offense, I can see Ohio State doing the same thing, but yet again, it's a rivalry game. It's just a different feeling to it. But we shall see. It is at the Horseshoe. And if Ryan Day don't beat Ohio State on this one, he just might as well get fired because there is no national championship implications for Michigan. They are not a dominant team, and there's no Jim Harbaugh there. So Ryan Day has no excuse to not win this game. He needs to win this game. For his sake, for his job's sake. Ryan Day win the game. From Columbus, Ohio to Nashville, Tennessee. The 8th-ranked Volunteers sitting pretty good in the playoff rankings, being number 8 and not going to the SEC title game. They have to go play their arch rivals up in Nashville, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Tennessee is 10.5-point favorites on the road. Vanderbilt's been up and down, which is not good for Tennessee. Because there are games that Vanderbilt can play good. They knocked off Alabama. Okay. I just want to look at Vanderbilt's wins. Virginia Tech. They did lose to Georgia State, by the way, which is terrible. They knocked off Alabama when they was ranked number 1. They beat Kentucky. They hung in with Texas. 3-point loss to Texas. They beat Auburn, who just knocked off Texas A&M. Tennessee. Don't walk in there and think y'all just gonna warn over these boys. This ain't your fathers and grandfathers Commodores here. This is a different group here. So 10.5 might be a little tricky for Tennessee. That's all I'm saying. Might be a little tricky. I don't know. 10.5 might be a little too much for the Volunteers heading to Nashville. From Nashville, Tennessee, to Clemson, South Carolina. The battle for South Carolina is up for grabs now. The 15th-ranked surprising South Carolina Gamecocks led by Shane Beamer heading to their valley of the ACC to go against 12th-ranked Tigers of Clemson led by Dabo Swinney, 12 p.m. ESPN. 2.5. It's the home Tigers. 2.5. This game has playoff implications with it. As you can see, both teams are on the outside looking in right now. As I remember correctly, Clemson and I do believe it's Texas A&M that's on the outside looking in right now. Yep. On the outside looking in right now. And boy. Whoever wins this game set themselves pretty well to have a case to make the playoffs. Because South Carolina is not that far. They're like, what, 3 spots off of it? 3 spots off? Clemson is literally the first team out. So another ranked victory for either side, and we might be talking playoffs for the Gamecocks and the Tigers. So this is a very important game here. Very important. I want to see if Dabo Swinney gonna take this game very, very seriously, because Shane Bieber has the game clause in a good spot right now, in a very good spot. And it's at the afternoon slate. The Jewish Shillelaghs up for grabs out in Santee, California, Los Angeles at the Coliseum. As the 5th-ranked Fighting Irish wants to keep that Jewish Shillelagh from the Trojans of USC, Southern California. 3:30 on CBS. The Fighting Irish, 7.5 favorites on the road. This is the last opportunity, should I say, for people who don't like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish because of the things like they get special treatment. They're the only team considered to be a Power 4 team, even though they're independent and not in the conference. That's why Notre Dame can't go no higher than a 5th seed, because you don't have a conference championship to fight for. So USC is those people's final hope to stab the dagging blow to the Fighting Irish. But ever since the loss to Northern Illinois back in week 2 of the season, Marcus Freeman has his team rolling. They have not come close to losing a game. I don't even remember the last time they had a close game since the loss to Northern Illinois. So let me go check something. Let me go look at it real quick. Let me look at Notre Dame's games after this. So after they took that shocking loss to Northern Illinois at home in South Bend, they came back and they went to Purdue and smoked them 66-7. They came home and beat up on Miami of Ohio 28-3. They had a 7-point win over Louisville. That was back in September 28th. They smacked around Stanford 49-7. They beat up on Georgia Tech 31-13. They aforementioned the smashing of Navy 51-14. Jesus Christ. Just embarrassed and bullied the Florida State Seminoles 52-3. 35-14 to Virginia, and what they did last week to Army 49-14. They've been smacking people. USC's been up and down, but they made themselves bowl eligible with the big win over the in-city rival. I ain't gonna say in-state, they in-city rival UCLA. So interesting here. 7.5 is the line for the Fighting Irish. CBS has that for you at 3:30. From sunny California to the Dome in Syracuse, New York. What a game this is going to be. The 6th-ranked Hurricanes trying to make it to Charlotte to face off with the SMU Mustangs for the right to win the ACC. The problem is they have to win at the Dome against an 8-3 Syracuse Orangemen. Don't know a lot about Syracuse. I'm going to be quite honest with you, but I'm looking at the numbers here. McCoy has thrown for close to 4,000 yards with 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He has thrown more yards than Cameron Ward. He has thrown more interceptions than Caleb Ward, but he has not thrown more touchdowns than Caleb Ward. This is going to be an interesting game. I'm going to look at this haven't heard a lot about Syracuse, but we've been looking at Syracuse. They got wins over Ohio, Georgia Tech, UNLV, who is in the rankings, by the way, NC State, Virginia Tech, California, UConn. And they have losses. They 3 losses have came to Boston College, Pitt, and Pitt blew them out, by the way, 41-13. And to Stanford, 26-24. So this is a very tricky game here. Miami is 11-point favorite, so the Orange Men are getting 11 at home, which is also interesting as well. 3:30 ESPN. The task is simple for Mario Bull, Cristobal, and the Hurricanes. You get a road win, you go to Charlotte last week. Plain and simple. If you don't, Clemson goes to Charlotte regardless if they win or lose to South Carolina. It's that simple. From the Dome up in New York to the Tuscaloosa, Alabama for the Iron Bowl. 3:30 p.m. at ABC. The Auburn Tigers traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on 13th ranked Crimson Tide of Alabama, carrying out that demoralizing loss. And I do mean demoralizing because you were beaten. Oklahoma beat you 24-3. While Auburn messed around and put Texas A&M in a position they didn't want to be in, beating them 43-41 in 4 overtimes. And you're giving the Crimson Tide, and you making the Crimson Tide 11.5-point favorites at home. They must think Alabama is going to come back with a vengeance. And it's happened to be their biggest rivalry would be upon the Avengers supposed to go against when it comes to Auburn. Laking up this game is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, so that might be an advantage for the Crimson Tide. But if it was in Jordan Hare, oh boy. If this was in Jordan Hare, I would not know what to say. If I'm being completely, I would not know what to say. But 11.5 in a rivalry game, the Iron Bowl, after what we just saw from what Alabama did at Oklahoma, I don't know. Then it is the Sunshine Showdown in Tallahassee, Florida. Doak Campbell Stadium. The Florida Seminoles coming off their biggest win of the season. And I do mean that literally. I am not trolling whatsoever. The 2-9 Florida State Seminoles had their biggest win of the season when they beat Charleston Southern 41-7. They actually put up points in the game for once. Because if you look at Florida State, I mean, this is the most disappointing team in the freaking college football world. The most disappointing team in college football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mike Norrell, I don't know what you did, but you ain't do your damn job this year, okay? You came in as the favorites in the ACC because what y'all showed last year, even though you got brought up with the college football playoff committee because you lost your quarterback, and those who've been following college football and been paying attention to what the committee says, when they lost Jordan Travis to that season-ending injury, you knew that was the end of Florida State. I don't know how y'all didn't see it because they went undefeated and won the ACC, but hey, they went against Georgia. They didn't want to show up for that game. Georgia blew their ass out. Georgia used them as an example to the college football playoff committee. Nevertheless, he came into the season favorite to win the ACC. I actually picked you to win the ACC, by the way, not being biased and being objective. And then you take your asses over to England, Ireland, should I say. Take your ass over to Dublin, Ireland. And you got your ass kicked by the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 24-21. All right. You come home Labor Day night. And Boston College decided to run the ball down your damn throats to a 28-13 win. Then Memphis comes into Doak Campbell Stadium the following week, and they beat you 20-12. Right out the gate, you're 0-3 out the gate. Yeah, you got past Kyle. Everson, you smacked you. Clemson smacked you. Duke beat you. Miami smacked you. North Carolina smacked you. Notre Dame beat the holy hell out of you. And then you beat Charleston Southern 41-7. So you feeling really good. You got the second win of the season. And then here comes Florida Gators just coming off the two biggest upset in the SEC right now. That's ending the season of LSU and Ole Miss, both in the swamp, drowning both of their seasons. So 14 and a half. All the Florida. I don't even remember the last time Florida was double digit favorites against Florida State. Jeez. We got to go back to what, the Tim Tebow era? The last time Florida was actually this big of a favorite over Florida State? Good gracious. But hey, that's the way they got it. 7 p.m. ESPN 2. Not ESPN, ESPN 2. And then 7:30 p.m. on Fox. You're going to go to Ames, Iowa. Because it is a matchup that is going to determine how the Big 12 is going to go down. Iowa State 9-2, hosting 8-3 and 24 ranked Wildcats of Kansas State. The home team is 2.5-point favorites. Iowa State wins this game. They're in the Big 12 championship game. They'll be going to Jerry's World in AT&T Stadium. If they can beat Kansas State. It's that simple. But if Kansas State decides to show up like they did against Colorado, like they did against Kansas, like they have done because they won 8 games. If they decide to show up, they can make things very, very interesting in the Big 12 even more. So while I'm here at the Big 12 game right here, those of you who are wondering, what about the other key members of this? Colorado is hosting Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has not won a conference game to save their freaking lives. All 3 of Oklahoma State's wins has come against non-conference opponents. When they beat South Dakota State, when they survived Arkansas in 2 overtime games, and when they beat Tulsa. Outside of that, Utah beat them, Kansas State beat them, West Virginia beat them, BYU beat them, Baylor beat them, Arizona State beat them, TCU beat them, and Texas beat them. So, Coach Prime, you cannot be the first team to lose to Oklahoma State in the Big 12. That should be a W for Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Should be. That game between Colorado and Oklahoma State, that is 12 p.m. on ABC, and that is in Boulder, Colorado, by the way. So that's an early game for Colorado. Early game. Now, it's not a 10 o'clock. I think that's a 10 o'clock kickoff for them. Okay, so you got that. Then we have to look at Arizona State. Well, they had their in-state rivalry in Tucson, Arizona, when they go to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats. 3:30, that's on Fox. That's the game to look out for. The Sunday was like 8.5-point favorites there. We already talked about Kansas, and then the final team is BYU. BYU is hosting Houston as 13-point favorites at home in Provo, Utah. So scheduling-wise, I can see BYU winning. I can see Arizona State winning. And if Arizona State does beat Arizona, they're in the conference championship game. They're in because that'll put Arizona State at 7-2. If Colorado wins, and they should win, they'll put them at 7-2. BYU should win, and that'll put them at 7-2. So right now, I'm giving Colorado, BYU, and Arizona State all W. So they all 3 at 7-2. Which means, with that scenario, and Iowa State possibly loses, which is very possible for Iowa State to lose, it would be Arizona State and BYU in the Big 12 title game. But if BYU does get caught by Houston, and Texas Tech beats West Virginia, and Baylor beats Kansas, and since it beats TCU, Colorado's in. It's very interesting in the Big 12 right now. So we shall see. And then the spotlight game of the week. College Station, Texas. Kyle Field, a renewal of an old rivalry. We are talking about Texas and Texas A&M. You have the Longhorns and you have the Aggies. Playoff implications, SEC championship implications, Everything, all hands on this one game here. Number 3 versus number 20. 5.5-point favorites are the Longhorns on the road. The winner of this game will be meeting Georgia up in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. The loser of this game will be hoping to still be alive for a playoff spot. This should be an interesting game. 7:30 ABC. Can't wait to hear Chris Fowler and Kurt Hershey call this game, because this is the game that has more than anything on the line. This literally has a conference championship spot on the line and a CFP spot on the line as well. So that is your campus tour. But we're not done. We're going straight to it. This is what we're going to do. Give me Georgia. Georgia would like to go in on a high note through a season that has been up and down for them, but they want to punch somebody in the mouth before they go to Atlanta. And Georgia Tech, when it's a good old-fashioned hate, why not punch y'all in the mouth? Give me Georgia. Give me Ohio State. Just Ryan Day, you lose this game, you deserve to be fired. Michigan has done nothing impressive all year. They can't pass. All they do is run. And I know you can stop the run if you're Ohio State. So stop the run, make them pass, get some turnovers, and blow them out the horseshoe, please. I'm going to roll with the Volunteers here. I think the Volunteers are going to walk into this game with the seriousness that it needs to be taken with, because they lose to Vanderbilt. They don't see the college football players. You can scream about SEC and what they had to go through, all that. I don't give a crap. You don't lose to Vanderbilt when the playoff spot is on the line. So handle your business. Josh Heupel, do your damn job, and make sure you get out of Nashville with a dub so you can make the playoffs. Because if you lose this game, you're not making the playoffs. I'm going with South Carolina. And this is not an SEC thing. This is I don't know what to make of the Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swimming. This is not the aforementioned Clemson Tigers or Dabo Swimming that we have come to know over the years. And the way that South Carolina has been playing lately, I like their chances to go down to the ACC Death Valley and put up a hell of a fight against Clemson and might actually beat Clemson. So give me South Carolina. And that would actually end the hopes of Clemson making the playoffs. Good win, USC over UCLA. The Jewish Shillelagh is up for grabs, and I'm pretty sure you want it. But the way that Notre Dame has been rolling ever since they took that L to Northern Illinois, nobody outside of Louisville has come close to beating them. And I don't see y'all coming close to beating them either. Man, this might be a double-digit win for the Fighting Irish. Miami, it's been a long time since y'all been in the national picture. It would be a damn shame if y'all go up to the Dome against a nice Syracuse team. I'm gonna say nice. A nice Syracuse team, and you get beat. Syracuse has not seen a team like y'all all season. Show them why they haven't seen a team like you all season, and show them the difference in competition. Kim Ward, this is the game you're gonna need to make sure you win that running for the Heisman, because Travis Hunter and Dinty, they're running away from you with the Heisman. As much as I don't like what I'm seeing from Alabama, it's in Tuscaloosa. That's the only reason I'm picking Alabama. Isn't because if it was in Jordan Hare, I would pick Auburn. I promise you, if it was in Jordan Hare, I'll be picking Auburn. But since it's in Tuscaloosa, and them Tide fans are not going to tolerate you losing to Auburn at home, knowing that that's the only game that you need to possibly make the playoffs, they are not going to be thrilled. Florida State, you got a great win. But Billy Napier, finish the job. Plain and simple. Just finish the job. Finish the season 75 and we're good. Yes, I'm looking for chaos in the Big 12. I'm looking for chaos in the Big 12 because Iowa State is not a team of offensively impresses me. Kansas State has an offense that can put up points. Iowa State does not have an offense that can put up points like that. They rely on their defense to keep teams down within the teams to win games. Only thing Kansas State needs to do is not turn the ball over. If Kansas State don't turn the ball over, they will beat Iowa State, and they might actually control Iowa State from start to finish if they don't turn the ball over. That's the only concern I have for Kansas State. If you don't turn the ball over, you will beat Iowa State. So give me the Wildcats. And then the Spotlight Game of the Week, the fans have voted. Fans voted a lot, and I'm very appreciative of the votes that y'all did because this actually tied the most votes we had. I think it was week 8 or week 7. But hey, y'all voted. 65.9%, almost 66% said that Texas Longhorns gets the dub over the Aggies in College Station. Where do I stand? I stand with you. Give me the Longhorns. We're going to get a rematch. Cole Johnson, in my opinion, you're going to get your rematch. Texas, Georgia, SEC, Atlanta, Georgia. That's how I feel. But do not sit here and wear your helmets on that field and think Texas A&M is going to be laying down after they got caught by Auburn last week. This is going to be a very physical game. This is going to be a hard-fought, bloody nose type of game here, old-fashioned style. But I like the Longhorns, Cole Johnson. Hook 'em horns. And that's the recap. I got the Bulldogs over Georgia Tech. I'm taking. Man, Ryan Day, if you don't beat Michigan this year, let's go somewhere else. Tennessee, take Vanderbilt seriously and win the game. I got Clemson. I got Shane Beamer going down and upsetting Dabo Swinney. Yeah, Notre Dame might blow the brakes off USC. Miami will take Syracuse seriously, and that's how they'll get it done. Alabama, if you lose to Auburn, it's going to be hell to play after year 1 for Kellen DeBoer. Billy Napier finished the deal against Florida State. Give me Kansas State to continue the chaos of the Big 12, and Texas handle business against the A&M Aggies. And the fans I voted, 65.9% are going with the Longhorns over the A&M Aggies. All right, and that will do it for today's episode. Yet again, give you a happy Thanksgiving as we get ready for Thanksgiving and Rivalry Week. We'll be back next week to recap what took place in Rivalry and whatever chaos that ensues. Also, we'll look at the CFP rankings and where the playoff brackets sit at as we go into championship week. Because after that, it is championship week. The rankings should be coming out. The whole picture of the rankings and the playoff picture will come out that Sunday. And we know where we stand at. So enjoy your family, enjoy the lovely food, and enjoy your football. As for the playmaker, I'll be doing the same thing. So enjoy the holidays. Y'all be safe. Y'all have fun. And show love to one another. It's the season of giving thanks. And we need to be thankful every day. All right? Enjoy.